Hey everybody, how's it going? Sorry it's been a while since I posted a video. I've been a little bit busy. I had a baby about 2 months ago, so time has been a little bit tight. But I found some time to get back into the shop. I picked up 5 of these Legend Lure plow blanks, and I'm going to put my own paint jobs on them and see how it turns out. Let's do some painting. I'm going to start with a little bit of fluorescent yellow, and we're going to do kind of like a perch base, a yellow belly, green back. And then I want to see if I can incorporate a little bit of gold into kind of like a hot perch kind of look. It's a perch, which is, you know, maybe kind of boring, but just a perch style that I haven't painted yet. Alright, that was a lot of layers. It looks good. Yellow belly. And I'm going to put a little bit of this transparent yellow over the top of it, just because I'm curious as to what this color transparent yellow will look like on the hot yellow. That looks good. I wanted a bright yellow belly, kind of like bordering on hot, like a fluorescent color, but I didn't want it to be completely fluorescent. And next I'm going to go with a basic iridescent green on the back. Not bad. A little light. I'm going to have to darken that up with something else. So I'm going to darken up this iridescent green with a little bit of pearl green. And I'm just going to go very lightly to see if I could just get that a little bit darker. There's not enough like color separation between the yellow and the green. I want to be kind of a little more distinct of two different colors. Alright, that looks pretty good. And then maybe just another light coat of the iridescent to bring back that effect. Alright, it's hard to tell if that did anything, but I think it did. That's what I was going for. Perfect. And now I'm going to take some of this color shift. It's kind of like a black, but it has a little bit of gold in it. I'm hoping that this gold doesn't look too gold. I want it to look kind of on the black side. I have a feeling it's going to be pretty gold, but I'm going to go with it anyway because I think the airbrushing gold that I'm going to use is so much brighter that it'll still stand out quite a bit on top of this color shift. So I'm going to just take like a messy brush and do some random splotches along the bait, and then the idea is to take like a brighter gold and paint some more uniform scales over kind of the whole bait, and they'll show up more so on this black color shift than it will on the green and yellow. Oop. And it's permanent. Alright. Mistake number 1. Bigger splotches. I'm going to blow dry this dry, and then we can move on to scales. Just a side note, for this being a color shift paint, I have 1 star. I don't see a whole lot of color shift at all going on there, so there's that. Alright, time for some mesh, some fresh mesh, and I want to get these scales lined up nice and straight down the back. Next I'm going to go with some Createx Pearl Copper instead of gold. And in my opinion, Createx's copper looks a lot like gold, whereas so gold, and this is, to me, that's copper. That looks like a copper penny, whereas that's gold. But it says pearl copper, which is fine. I like it. Their gold is good too. I don't know, it's a little light. I like that this has just a little bit more of like an orange in it. I just like how it's going to stand out. I'm going to like the contrast of this copper with that black. And you can see why I did such big splotches of black on the bait, so you can really pick up the individual full scales in copper, so you can really start to, your eyes are going to see the pattern as opposed to just little random spots of gold if that black wasn't filling complete cells of this mesh. Alright, I hit that pretty heavy with the copper there, so hopefully this pattern stands out really nice on top of that black color shift. Alright. Looks okay. I don't love it. I don't love it. Hopefully that will grow on me once I put some bars on it. It had a lot of texture because the color shift paint is really thick, and I'm starting to wonder if I really should have just gone with like a jet black instead of the color shift gold. That color shift gold did look very black and very dark on this, and maybe I should have gone with like a brighter, finer gold, but it's too late now, and that's how it looks. Okay, on to the next step. Next I'm going to take Golden Jenkins Green and just kind of darken up the back spine of the bait just a little bit. Alright, that looks good. That's where a bar is going to go for sure. And let's do some bars. Alright, I got a slightly neater brush, still a little bit messy, and some jet black, and we're going to do some bars. Trying to figure out the spacing here first. Just keep them real skinny at first and bring them down into the yellow just a little bit, and then I'll fatten them up just a little bit as I feel needed. A little rusty with the filming. It's a big bait to keep in frame. That looks good. I like it. Nice little detail. Oops. Do that all the way down the head. Nice. It turned out really good. I still kind of regret the color choices on the splotches, but that black does still provide some contrast here. Really would have liked to seen more contrast between the scales and the background and then this jet black. I think if that background of the splotches was also jet black, it would tie in these bars a little bit nicely. But I'm not complaining because I actually really do like how this turned out. And we'll just splotch around the eye sockets. I hope splotch is a word. I've been saying it a lot. Splotch. It just kind of feels like splotching. Splotching definition. No,
here's the definition of blotch.
Blotch.
Blotches.
I think it's blotching. Blotching. Alright. Now, do I go orange belly? Let's go orange belly. And just a little bit of the red details on the underside. Boom. Ready for clear coat. Let's paint another one. Alright, for the next bait, let's start with some pearl white and we'll coat the whole thing. Perfect timing. Alright, looks good. What I'm thinking is doing the wish perch pattern, but just kind of switching up the colors. So instead of yellow and green, I think I'm going to do white, and then I'm going to use a little bit of this fluorescent violet on the top, and then we'll do the black and then maybe some silver scales. So I'm going to start with the violet and paint the back. I'm going to come back with a little bit of pearl white to kind of tie the violet back in with the rest of the bait. And I'm also hoping that this pearl white will kind of mute the silver scales on the violet, so when I put the black along the sides, the silver will really stand out against the jet black, but then kind of be slightly muted on the violet. That looks good. Alright, a little bit of black in the cup. Alright, back with some mesh. Alright, and here we go with some iridescent silver. Let's see how that turned out. Nice. Very nice. That's perfect. Now I'm going to darken up. I'm going to find a darker violet, and maybe I'll even add just a few drops of black to this violet if I don't have something in this color but darker, just kind of darken up this back. I could even just use like a transparent black and just kind of darken this up, but I want it to have like a really deep purple hue, so let's darken this back up just a little bit. Alright, I found something dark and purple. It's the Createx Wicked Detail Violet. Pretty dark, and I just want to create like a little dark shadow on the spine. Alright, ready to add black bars. Nice. Looks great. Not too much. Perfect. Alright, the eyes. Alright, it's almost perfect. I think all it needs, a little pink belly. Alright, there she is. That looks really good. I'm really pumped how this one turned out. This is such a great pattern. I feel like I didn't do anything that anybody of any skill level couldn't do. I think it's simple enough that anyone can do it, and it just looks amazing. It's a really cool pattern, and you know, you can do it in pretty much any color you want. I think you just could swap out for basically any color. Belly color, back color, black with silver or gold scales and black bars. Just so simple, really clean, makes for some stunning patterns. Let's paint one more bait. Do you guys want to watch one more here? Because I got nothing better to do than to paint one more bait. Let's do one more bait, and then we will wrap this one up. Alright, for the last bait, let's do some kind of shiner pattern. So let's start with a coat of pearl white. And then I'm going to take some carbon black and paint the whole top of the bait from the midline up, and just being careful not to overspray downwards towards the belly. So kind of everything spraying up, just try and cover this top of this bait. Alright, mesh time. Now I'm going to come with some of this Vallejo aluminum. I'm really liking the silver. And I'm just going to paint all of the scales silver, and then we'll start shading them. And now I'm going to take the jet black again and start to shade all of these scales. And I switched the silver out in my cup to the golden product. I like the Vallejo for coverage, but I like the golden iridescent silver for highlighting. I did the shading, now I need to do the highlighting, so switching that up to a golden product. Oh, I spilled. Pretty sweet. And now with this bait, I think I could basically just put a belly color on it, and that's gonna look amazing. So let's do orange belly. This is gonna be an orange belly shiner. You know what, just for variety's sake, let's do a little touch of this red light just right along here. Let's just try a little detail, and it doesn't have to be much. It's gonna be very light. So light. Perfect. Before I do the orange belly, I'm going to take some pearl black and just darken the spine of this just a little bit. Alright, orange belly. Alright, that's it. Perfect. I think that looks great. Alright, I'm throwing a curveball here because I'm torn. So I painted the wish perch, and then I continued with that same style with the purple. I mean, this bait looks amazing. Then I painted the orange belly night shiner. Now, I love orange belly night shiner. It's one of my favorite patterns. It just made sense to paint it. It looks great. This bait on its own, I think, turned out amazing. But then I liked this pattern so much that I continued with it, and I did the wish brown perch with the copper scales, and this thing turned out amazing. And then I did some fluorescent orange, and this turned out amazing. But one of these just doesn't belong. And I love this bait just as it is on its own. But when you're looking at it as a set, now I know that these aren't going to always be a set. This is probably the last time that these baits will ever be in the same room. But I just feel like I need to audible and change this bait. Let's change this bait. Alright, so first thing, I think I'm going to just attempt to do the blotching down the sides with some silver scales and then some black bars, and then just see if it turns out good. Part of me kind of wants to lighten this back up with a little bit of iridescence just to have those bars stand out, but that's the only thing I'm going to do before I just start changing this bait. And you know what, worst case Ontario, I have to just completely start over again, and I'm not above doing that. So let's lighten up just this spine a little bit, because those black bars might not stand out on top of this darkened spine. So I'm gonna lighten that up just a little bit with some pearl. And we'll just get right to it and just jump right in before I change my mind. It's just going to be tough because there's just not going to be enough contrast there. There's not going to be enough for this to stand out. It'll stand out on this side, but I'm afraid that it's not going to stand out on this side once I hit this with silver scale. It might just look like a messed up version of what I did on top. That's all I'm really worried about. Okay, one side done. There's definitely not going to be a way to line these up perfectly with the scales on the back. So when I am painting these scales, I'm going to try my hardest to only paint where I just did all of the black. And that makes me wonder if I should pick a different color. Like silver is what's going to stand out. Maybe like a maybe like an interference paint. Maybe like interference red or something. That might be interesting. Because I did a little touch of red on the belly, and that would stand out really nice on the black. Alright, I got a little interference red in the cup. I think that's gonna look good. Alright, hopefully you can see a pattern. Well, that looks cool there. Oh yeah. Oh, that's sick. This is gonna work. Alright, let's paint some bars. Man, that's great. What a recovery. Alright. Heat set, eyes, top coat. Let's go. Well, these turned out pretty great. Man, I'm just super thrilled with these results. This Wish style is awesome looking. I mean, it's a classic in the musky world for a reason, and just turns out phenomenal. Super happy with these results. I hope you guys learned something. Let me know what you want to see in the next video. I don't really have plans for another video anytime soon, but I'm gonna keep filming, so something's gonna be coming down the pipe. So let me know what you want to see. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching.